Okay, so welcome everyone to the third SWIAA webinar that we are having. This session will be recorded and will be available online so that people can view it on their own later on. So thank you all for taking the time to come and join it. We're going to start the webinar off with Clint Kaasa of USDA, and I'll let himself introduce himself and start with his presentation.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And hopefully you can see that.
Not yet.
Oh, there we go. I got to hit another share. Okay, there we go.
Oh, and I do encourage everyone, if you're not presenting, to put yourself on mute until you have a question or anything like that, just so we cut back on any static and background noise.
Okay. Is it showing up? Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, and appreciate the opportunity to present again to the Southwest Indian Agricultural Association. My name is Clint Kaasa. I work with the USDA Rural Development here in Phoenix. That's where our office is. That's where the four of us that work in the business and cooperative programs are headquartered, though now we're kind of out in our homes, back and forth to the office sometimes, but we're still proudly delivering our programs. That being said, I want to kind of give a little bit of background about USDA Rural Development. We're committed to helping improve the economy and quality of life in rural America. And we do this through basically four overall programs: our rural housing programs, water and environmental programs, community facility programs, and our business and cooperative programs. Hold on here, there we go. Just a little bit of a brief on our housing programs. Those are for single family, multifamily housing projects. We also have a lot of within the single family housing program, there are some home repair programs for low income and elderly families, and encourage you to reach out to our office and see if there's our rural housing office, and see if there's something that could be beneficial to your communities. Secondly, our water and environmental programs are designed to provide water and wastewater systems to rural communities. Community facility programs are designed to provide those essential community facilities necessary for an orderly development of a rural community. Those are things like, say, for example, city halls, libraries, schools, fire equipment, fire stations, ambulances, things like that will assist in the orderly development of a community. And then finally, our business and cooperative programs, which I'll go into a little bit later. But all four of these programs, we basically say we can develop a community from the ground up. So lots of opportunities for assistance with USDA Rural Development. So I wanted to talk about some of the programs that would likely assist members of the Southwest Indian Agricultural Association. I have 7 of them. Some I'll go into a little bit more detail, some a little less. So the first one I want to talk about is our Rural Business Development Grant. And the Rural Business Development Grant is limited, the eligibility is limited to nonprofit, hold on here, nonprofit organizations, public bodies and government entities, and Native American tribes and tribal groups. We're working on one rural business development grant with Southwest Indian Agricultural Association right now. Another one is in to the national office pending some decisions on funding, and we certainly hope to get that. All of our rural business development or our rural business programs are designed to assist serve rural areas, that being those communities in rural areas of 50,000 population, not associated with an urbanized area. One of the good things about the definition of rural is that all Native American reservations are eligible for service. So the Rural Business Development Grant, what does it do? Basically, it is designed to deliver and develop technical assistance or training program to a small business. A small business for the Rural Business Development Grant Program is limited to businesses with less than $1 million in gross revenues, and that will create less than 50 new jobs. It's a different definition than the Small Business Administration, and that causes confusion. But it's less than $1 million in gross revenues. Typically, that technical assistance program deals with financial management or business planning, market planning, feasibility studies, business plans, etc. The program can also be used to establish a revolving loan fund. This revolving loan fund can be used to assist these small businesses that are part of the as we described above, less than $1 million in gross revenue. Unfortunately, they cannot be used for agriculture production. So anything from the seed, planting seeds, etc., irrigation, fertilizer, the actual harvesting, we can't do. Can't use it for cattle feed and things like that. But anything that would be post-harvest processing, that revolving loan fund could be used for that. Those loans from a revolving loan fund could be used for that. The Rural Business Development Grant can also be used to construct or improve buildings and purchase equipment to be used by small businesses. This is called a rural business an industrial site loan or industrial site grant, industrial site assistance, and ultimately though the end users must pay a reasonable rent or lease to be in those buildings or use that equipment. We can't have a pass-through grant with the Rural Business Development Grant. What's the application process? Typically, the application process, the program's announced in December or January. Applications are typically due at the end of March, and then the awards are announced in June and July. So, like I said, we're waiting on some decisions from our national office. I kind of want to point out what we consider to be a success. In fiscal year 2020, which was last fiscal year, $535,000 was awarded or was allocated to Arizona. That's not a lot of money, but from that, 11 awards were made. But we're very aggressive at going for the Native American set-aside that's available at the national office. So last year we were able to pull in addition to that 535, another $979,000 that were used for 8 awards from the Native American set-aside. So that was 23% of the available Native American set-aside funds nationwide. So we're, like I said, we work hard to support the applications that come in from our native communities. In fiscal year 2021, we're expecting similar numbers, a little bit less on the funds that are available that are that are what we call unrestricted funds. It's going to be about 449,000, but it looks like we're going to be getting just over $1 million from the Native American set aside based on the preliminary numbers that we have so far. So again, like I said, in fiscal year 2021, we're expecting very similar numbers. That's an excellent program. The Rural Business Development Grant is an excellent program. We can do so many things with it. Groups like AA Tech have been wonderful supporters and write really good grants for us. So we appreciate that as well. The next one is a socially disadvantaged group grant that we've been successfully working with here in Arizona. Its eligibility is limited to cooperatives, groups for cooperatives, cooperative development centers, and then here is where we, because we don't have a cooperative development center and it's seemingly hard to get one, but the business development center is where we are able to jump in and get some of this funding. Again, we're serving less than 50,000 population, not associated with an urban area, but given that our Native American reservations are eligible, we've been able to get a few grants out of this program over the last few years. What are the funds to be used for? Grants are used to provide technical assistance to socially disadvantaged groups in rural areas. The examples of the assistance are technical or feasibility studies, business plans, strategic planning, and leadership training of the folks in the socially disadvantaged group. The critical thing is that we have to be studying whether or not the cooperative form of business is something that will work ultimately with this particular grant. So what we're trying to see is mutually owned businesses, cooperative owned businesses, see if that will work. That's the technical assistance. Again, the notice of solicitation of applications is going to be published soon. Don't have any idea what's going on. I know the change in administration extended some of these publication schedules, which is typical. There's always going to be a 60-day application window. $3 million available, $175,000 maximum award, and it's a national competition. There's no matching funds are required for this particular grant. Again, it's a nice little grant that we've utilized with our Native American communities in a couple, 3 or 4 different opportunities that we've done on that. Next is our Rural Cooperative Development Grant, and like I said, we're having a hard time trying to see if we can get one established here in Arizona. But its eligibility for the Rural Cooperative Development Grant is limited to nonprofit organizations or institutions of higher education. Those 2 organizations must operate or be operating a cooperative development center. And again, we're going to be serving a rural area with population of less than 50,000, not associated with an urbanized area. The grant and matching funds are used to operate a rural cooperative development center, and those funds then assist individuals and businesses in the startup, expansion, or operational improvement of rural cooperatives and other mutually owned businesses. Some of the examples of the work the centers can do is like feasibility studies, developing business plans, providing for a cooperative, the feasibility for a co-op, a business plan for a co-op, providing leadership and operational improvement training, and then facilitating strategic planning for the co-op. One of the critical things about cooperatives is understanding exactly what it is to be a member of a cooperative, as well as what's required of cooperative leadership. It's not just four individuals getting together and saying we're a co-op. There's a lot more to it. So this is what these centers can do. Again, the notification of solicitation of applications is expected to be published soon. A 60-day application window, 5.8 million available nationwide, maximum $200,000 award, 25% matching funds, and a national competition. This is kind of where we fall down. There's been a history of cooperatives and cooperation. We call it nationwide. Say in the Midwest, California has had some history. Washington State, but it's primarily in the Midwest, in these cooperative development centers that have been established. The way the scoring criteria works is that it kind of favors them. That's not to say that we're not going to try our best to see if we can't get some, get a cooperative development center established here in Arizona, or work with another cooperative development center in a neighboring state. We did last year. We did have some interest from the Rocky Mountain Cooperative Development Center in doing a project or two over here in Arizona. We don't manage that grant, so I don't know exactly where that's at. The next program is our Rural Energy for America program, and this is something that I hope the SWIAA members can utilize. It's for agricultural producers and rural small businesses. It provides a grant for up to 25% of total eligible project cost to either establish a renewable energy system or to make energy efficiency improvements to an existing system. Applications are accepted year-round, but compete once or twice per fiscal year, depending on the project cost. The minimum grant is $2,500 for a renewable energy system, $1,500 for energy efficiency improvements. The maximum grant is $500,000 for renewable energy system and $250,000 for energy efficiency improvements. The applicant must own the system and maintain site control. I see I'm getting close to the 10:30, so if I can have 5 more minutes, be great.
No problem.
I wanted to see if I had. Oh, okay. So what's a renewable energy system? A renewable energy system would be something that would generate energy. I guess here primarily in Arizona, we look at solar panels. Those solar panels can either be used to offset your energy bill, or that energy can be used directly, on your farm or at your small business. Energy efficiency improvements are things like LED lighting. You might want to put in more energy efficient doors or windows. You might change out your HVAC system. You might compressors and stuff for cooling and things like that. This has to be used for agricultural producers and real small businesses, and none of this can be used for your residents. It has to be the business or the agriculture production. Okay. There's really no citizenship requirement. We just want to make sure the energy efficiency is used in the United States. Last year, we had $811 million for 6 projects, what we call large projects, and then 168,000 for small projects. We funded 6 and 11 respectively. We also were able to put out just over 10 million for guaranteed loans, where a bank came to us and said, "Hey, we want to finance this energy system for this business, and we want you to guarantee the loan." And we did 2 projects. One of them was $10 million. It was for an anaerobic digester on a dairy. The $155,000 project was essentially a parking structure at a city hall, where the developer went in and said, "Hey, here's some big space here in your parking area. I want to put up what we call a parkasol, put some solar panels on top, and I'll earn the revenue from that." So eventually, essentially, the people that go to City Hall now have a shaded place to park. The rooftop is used to generate energy. There's 3 application tiers. 80,000 or under is what we call small. So essentially you get a $20,000 grant or less. Then there's another tier of less than 200,000 but more than 80,000, and then 200,000 and above. And essentially each of these tiers, the requirements get the technical requirements get a little more technical as the projects get larger. Okay, value-added producer grants. These are grants to assist producers in adding value to the crops and agricultural products they are currently producing. Our NOSA was published in December of 2020. The applications were due May 4th. It's going to be about $77.8 million available this fiscal year, and normally in the program, the grant is to match the applicant's contribution on a 50-50 basis. But we're seeing this year that if you can show that your operation was affected by the COVID pandemic, the grant is 90% of the project, and the independent producer or groups of independent producers will have to contribute 10%. What are the types of grants? There's a planning grant and a working capital grant. The maximum for a planning grant is $75,000. That would be kind of to prepare a business plan, a feasibility study for a value-added project. And then there's a working capital grant of $250,000 to actually implement that after the planning. 5 value-added methods. There's a change in the physical state. So that would be something like taking tomatoes and making it into salsa. Non-standard agricultural production, say organic, product physical segregation, local foods marketing and distribution, and then farmer ranch-based renewable energy. Then I really wanted to kind of briefly mention our 1RD guaranteed loan program. This is delivered through commercial lenders. The USDA guarantees the loan against loss in the event that the lender has to liquidate. And what the 1RD guaranteed loan did was it combined the business and industry loan program the Rural Energy for America program, the Community Facility program, and the Water and Environmental program into one regulation. And for the community facilities and the water and environmental programs, it expanded the eligible area to cities and towns of 50,000 or less. I bring this up because I want people to understand that these are out there. There's commercial lenders out there willing to make these loans. Typically a community facility or a water program is they're usually made to municipalities or strong nonprofits, and they're excellent loans. And when you have a federal guarantee of 80% against that, it's not a bad deal for the bank, not a bad deal for the borrower. Maximum community facility loan is $100,000 or $100 million. The maximum water and environmental program is 50 million, and then for BNI and Rural Energy for America program is 25 million. But again, we have used the guaranteed loan program with the BNI especially for projects on Native American reservations, and they've been excellent loans. So I just wanted to bring that out. Then the final program I wanted to talk about was our Rural Economic Development Loan and Grant Program. This is a program that's delivered through our rural electric and rural telephone cooperatives. However, municipal and tribal utilities may request eligibility determination, and typically, if they met some of the requirements or most of the requirements of the Rural Electrification Act, that was way back in the late 1930s, they will also be eligible. And essentially what happens is the utility or the co-op borrows the money from the USDA at 0% interest for 10 years. They in turn lend that to the borrower at 0% for 10 years. So that is kind of a pass-through per se. Excellent program for rural communities. The grant is done under the same program. It's not a grant per se to the borrower. It's a grant. The grant goes to the utility or the co-op, and they utilize that to create a revolving loan fund. But again, those loans are put out at 0% for 10 years. If your tribal utility is interested in something like that, we're happy to work with them, make the eligibility or coordinate the eligibility determination, as that has to be done up in Washington D.C. and get these funds deployed. I also want to kind of point out, we have our USDA sister agencies, the Farm Service Agency. And I put a link down there where to go for them, but they have farm ownership and operating loans, youth loans for FFA and 4-H projects, beginning farmers and ranchers loans, minority farmers, ranchers loans, women farmers and ranchers loans. I just wanted to say there's the link, but it's our sister agency, and we support what they do. Likewise, the Natural Resources Conservation Service has planning and conservation resources for a wide variety of programs. I don't profess to know them all, and it's enough to know what I do. But again, the Natural Resources Conservation Service is an excellent partner for rural Arizona. I also want to point out other RD programs, of which there are many. Most of those are listed in a matrix that we have called the Summary of Major Programs, and there's a link to that particular program or to that particular matrix that I would encourage you to go to check out what else USDA Rural Development has. As I mentioned, we can build a community from the ground up. And I think if you were to look at that, you would see that that is definitely the case. With that kind of concludes my presentation. Happy to take any questions. Or be sure to give us a call. I know this is going to be shared elsewhere, so lots of opportunities for us to answer any questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
For the Rural Energy for America program.
Yes.
So you say it has to be for a business. What if you own a property and the well is used, like you want to get a solar well, but it's used both for a business and a residence? Does that count?
Well, we would have to adjust. What we do is we adjust what is used for the residents and what is used for the business, try to come to an agreement about what that is, and then adjust that grant amount accordingly. Yes. Yeah. Likewise, when we're talking, say for example, we were doing a solar thing. The easiest thing to do is have two separate meters. That's really not that hard to do. I don't know how we would do that on a well, Sophia, but yeah, there's certainly ways that we could work with you to figure that out.
Cool. And then for the utilities program, are utility cooperatives common in Arizona?
There's not that many.
Okay.
There's a few. Navapache up in Springerville, or up in Pinetop Lakeside, Sulphur Springs down south. Bullheads, there's one over in Bullhead City, Graham County Electric Co-op. They're not as common out here as they were in the Midwest. But yeah, there are a few, and we've done some projects. Arizona Electric Power Cooperative in Benson actually runs a revolving loan fund with that program.
So that's like if you're living rurally and you want to get power to your telephone line to your property, you can apply for that loan.
No. Those
okay.
no. These are kind of go back. Each of these co-ops were when the Rural Electrification and Rural Electrification Administration and then the Rural Telephone Administration were created back in the late 30s and early 40s. One of the obligations was, if they got these loans from the federal government, was to have some community, to participate in the community somehow, some way. And a lot of them do that by, they have scholarships and things like that. But some of these were starting to pay off sooner than they were obligated to, which created a cushion of credits program. So what USDA did was said, hey, because they were limited on whether they could prepay these loans or not, because they were funded with bonds and whatnot. Anyway, this cushion of credits was created, and rather than that money just sitting there, we established this Rural Economic Development Loan and Grant Program. So essentially, no, it's more to loan to businesses in those rural communities. You're kind of talking about the last mile electric and last mile telephone. That probably would have to be done by the cooperative itself, but this is essentially a business loan program.
Okay.
The ones that we did, I mean, I'll just tell you, we've done a few here recently. There was up in Bullhead City, the Chamber of Commerce borrowed money from the Rural Electric Co-op, who borrowed from us, and they established, they funded a digital billboard that has all the community events and stuff out in front of the Chamber of Commerce office in Pima, Arizona, of all places. We worked with the town of Pima to construct a building, and there's a supplement manufacturer that that manufactures and ships out of that particular building in Pima. They end up, of course, Pima is very small. Then they are now the third largest employer in Pima with 44 jobs, I think, at that little facility. So
Nice.
It's really nice. And then another one we did was a longtime restaurateur in Pima also wanted to expand out over to Safford, and we were able to assist them with a 0% loan that has expanded their business, doubled their employment, whatnot. So allowed them to do some catering and things like that. So excellent rural development projects.
That's great.
So
Cool.
again, like I said, the tribal utilities would most likely be granted eligibility if they applied. So.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing all those programs.
You bet.
Does anybody have any other? Yeah. Does anyone have any other questions for Clint?
Yes, I have a question. Clint, you talk about value-added producer grant.
Yeah.
I think the last bullet you showed here, there was for COVID related, if the entity can show impact from COVID, it will be considered, potentially considered as a 90% grant and 10% matching. I don't recall seeing that, so obviously it probably only works for current year. How can we possibly approach this?
I will tell you that
Yeah.
the grant, if the application came in at 50-50, Jing, and it's selected for award, they will go back and adjust those matching funds.
Awesome.
Now, there was a supplemental NOSA that came out that said that there wasn't much time in there, and the agency has basically said, okay, the first grants that we do, we're going to double check to see if they were affected by COVID, and we'll just adjust the matching at the time we make the award.
Okay.
It's the easiest way to do it.
Yes. So. Yeah. I just we maybe didn't, because it's not something you do it every year, so it's a
right
special thing. So okay.
Yep.
Well, awesome. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. I appreciate the extra time.
Yeah, of course. If you wouldn't mind stopping your screen share.
I will do that. Let me know that it happened.
Yep, you're all set.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you again, Clint.
You bet.
Our next presenter is Don Guerra and myself. So I will share my screen for our presentation. And let's see here. Does that look okay for everyone? Yes, great. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the Southern Arizona Local Wheat and Wheat Flour Promotion Program. Dawn, would you like to introduce yourself? Nope, it's
Dawn, you are muted,
Dawn.
actually.
Okay, that's probably much better. Okay, so my name is Don Guerra. I'm the owner founder of Barrio Bread and also the founder of Barrio Grains. And I've been a baker for about 30 years and just really super excited about using local grains right now, ancient, heritage, and modern wheats at my bakery. So I've kind of created a model of food hub concept for a bakery. We're trying to source all my grains locally to produce natural leaven breads. So sourdough method breads, full of flavor, that because they have fresh milled flour, and then providing them to the community, along with outreach education about my process and about the value of the grains themselves. And then with Barrio Grains, offering the grains and flour blends to the community to support their own baking at home. So I've been 2015 awarded the local food promotion for Barrio Bread, and then in 19 for Barrio Grains. So this is a planning grant, the conclusion of the planning grant, and hoping to move forward to expand and really open up developing a local grain economy and a community-supported grain enterprise in Southern Arizona, Barrio Grains.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly. And I am Sophia Montez. I work with Apex Applied Technology, and we've been helping Don manage this program. And then we wrote the feasibility study that was a big part of this this planning grant, because it's a great way to plan. You think about the business, you know, and write a big report about it. Okay, so we'll just be going over kind of this whole grant program that we were awarded. Like Don mentioned, it's a local food promotion program. It's through USDA Agricultural Marketing Service. We're very lucky to get it. So the whole purpose of this grant program is to help, you know, develop local food businesses and expand like local food markets. They just want to increase how many people are eating local food in the country, and just develop new market opportunities. So Barrio Grains was lucky to get awarded this grant in 2019, and we're hoping to use that to just kind of address the Southern Arizona grain economy, or the grain chain, as Don likes to call it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just in you know, nationwide and also in community, we just noted a big uptick in the interest in local food systems, especially with COVID over this past year, and seeing kind of a breakdown of food not showing up on the shelves. And just remarkably, the flour was a big deal, and everyone learning how to make natural leavened bread. So this program would help to just support that and getting the local grain to the people, the flours, and then again with some education to support them. And so far it's gone well. It's been more than a planning term. It's been really trying to make it into a business, and so far it's been successful. But it's been about 50,000 pounds of flour that's been sold to the community to support their own baking. But now people, I think, really have an interest in even going even further with the local food promotion, and just really Tucson is a really proud place, especially with the designation of the city gastronomy and under UNESCO. So yeah, people are really excited, but really just showing a case to expand what's already been happening. So overarching, oh, go ahead, Sophia.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. No, go ahead. You got it.
Okay. So yeah, just the goals of the program are, as Don said, to kind of help plan and develop the local regional, you know, production chain that goes from the growers all the way to, you know, you holding a bag of flour in your hands that you're going to make bread out of, or to a restaurant owner or bakery owner that's going to use it. So just wanted to increase the access that people have to local grain, and then just kind of determine the economic feasibility of this. Like, you know, is it really possible to make this a sustainable business opportunity? Because as much as you can dream, you still have to be able to make something, you know, functional in the real world.
Yeah, and really this work has taken place over the last 10 years. The building of the grain chain and the local grain economy, it started 2010 with the SARE grant, USDA SARE grant. And so I took part in that project, and it was to grow white Sonoran wheat and chapalote corn. So that was kind of the start of trying to organize ourselves into a grain chain and develop the relationships. And so, you know, that work has been over a decade. So really now is the time where it's starting to get more attention, and the relationships are really solidified, and everyone kind of knows their part in the project. You know, it's bigger than one person. It's involved, you know, like Sophia said, from the growers to the consumers. It's more of a circular economy model. Everyone's involved, but I believe the foundation's been laid, and there's a strong case for it. And it's really just, more than anything, it's just really exciting because people are starting to see the value of locally sourced flours and grains, and making their own products, like I said, and then having a bakery that's really become a model for the future of a bakery, and for people to gain information on how to bake these products themselves. I'm a U of A College of Ed grad, so I love teaching, and I built a company called breadlessons.com where I can, support the purchase of the products, these flour blends that I make, with these educational how-to videos for bread and different products. So that's been really fun, and also to support other producers and give them access to the flours and get them involved to help really increase the amount of local flour that's being offered in the form of food products. So I've been working with tortilla makers, I worked with the naan makers, the naan bread and cookie companies to really promote it, and for the community to be able to enjoy those products as well.
And once you start buying Barrio Grains flour, you can't go back, and I speak from experience.
Yeah. Good job, Sophia.
All right, so in terms of what we've accomplished, and again, this is specific to just the past year and a half of working through this grant program. We really work to establish partnerships all along the grain chain, developing different flour blends, continuing the community education, which is a big part of any grant program, but this one especially. We want to make sure we're not just doing stuff that only benefits Barrio Grains, but trying to share the knowledge, and then create a solid footprint, again, through planning and looking at the business to see how we can really move forward when Barrio Grains can grow.
Yeah, and like I said before, this has been in the works for a while now, but yeah, I've developed 7 different products. 4 of them are flour blends, a Sonoran blend, a Barrio blend, a pizza blend, and then also a pizza kit, which is smaller bag of flour where it just add water. So this is really taken off because I was teaching this in these different youth programs, trying to make it as simple as possible, but now we see like people really enjoy just taking the bag and then just that tagline, just add water. It's so easy, and then have a video to support it. And so I'm hoping to continue to develop that. And the other 3 products that are offered are the wheat berries themselves. So different things you can do. Some people are getting into having these home mills, these tabletop mills, and taking the bread process even further, not just getting the flour and making the bread, but learning about where it all starts, which is the plant and then the wheat berries. So that really extends their knowledge and interest in the process, and they get excited. And so Barrio Bread is has been a home to Barrio Grains, but it's fun to see the community coming and know that it's not just bread, it's an educational center, it's an innovation center, and a place to buy the flour and do it themselves. So really, there's no secrets. I love teaching what I do, but it's just been exciting to see people, especially during COVID, because everyone's trying to make sourdough bread, which has been a big boost to my companies, the COVID, believe it or not, but everyone's making sourdough bread. And then having my educational background, I feel like I'm in a strong position to really move forward with the company, and not just make it a grain and flour company, community supported grain and flour company, but also using that community supported piece to be an educator, a bread educator, and teach it forward, and then make people sustainable themselves with having this food that they're not intimidated to make, because bread's one of those things that a lot of cooks out there, but there's not a lot of bakers. And so once they learn, they can do it, and it is challenging, but because you can always learn from every repetition, but it's fun to share that with my community right now.
All right, so in terms of community engagement, again, this was a big part of our program, and trying to make sure we talk to everybody involved in the local grain economy. So that was kicked off with a meeting with the producers and potential partners through this program. We also had a strategic planning meeting specifically with producers. This was a chance to just talk to them and figure out, with them, what do you need to be able to grow grain well, and to be able to develop your business as well, and what's lacking in this value chain that we should address. So that was very helpful. And then we also had a meeting with consumers and asked them, what do you need to be able to buy more grain? Like what are the steps that are missing for you as a consumer? In addition, we had educational workshops, and we also had community presentations. Again, Don's a great educator, so just trying to get a lot of knowledge out there.
Yeah, and it's the people that are involved now with the project are people that I've known for quite a while that become like, for example, Aguilar Distribution Systems. They're a company that wanted to start selling me these disposable products like paper bags and different things like that, fruits, nuts, seeds, some of the materials to make the bread. But starting working with them and developing a relationship, I've learned, I learned that they also have a storage facilities where they can store the flour and the different products. And so I've worked with them to store larger amounts of flour that I'm now getting from Hayden Flour Mills. They drive up to Queen Creek and get up to 6 pallets of flour, these ancient modern heritage wheats that I'm sourcing, and bring it back and store it. So it's been creating a lot more efficiency. And then also with BKW, they also have the facilities to store the grain. So, Barrio Grain and Barrio has sort of been this hub of people that I've known and that have lent support, but also help to maximize efficiency. So this becomes a viable model and a sustainable business. And then U of A have been amazing partners. Like I said, I'm a U of A College of Ed grad, and before that, anthropology. So I've done a lot of guest lecture at the universities and talked about, the sustainable practices for grain and bread and bakery. So there's a lot of partners, and that also has just been incredible because it adds to the strength in the case of developing Barrio Grains, as the community supported grain company. But it's been about relationships and about we're all committed to trying to do something special for the Southern Arizona region is mostly.
So one thing we did was a flour milling consultation, and we actually did this with San Javier Cooperative Farm. Don went down there and talked to Gabriel, who at the time was the farm manager. San Javier Co-op Farm is in the process of installing a milling facility, and we're excited to see how they're going to fit into this grain economy and what role they'll play in the local, in the local production system. We also did food safety and information sessions. So the first one was a USDA or FDA kind of label development course. We had 2 professors from the University of Arizona, Professor Ted Lee Pill and Professor Kim Krumar, just kind of talk about what's in a label, what do you need to have to meet the certain requirements, depending on your product and depending on where you're selling it and what your plans are. So we had, local business owners attend. They were able to ask questions and kind of figure out exactly what they need to be able to start expanding their market and sell things prepackaged and labeled properly, in retail settings. We also had another information session that was focused on just managing a business during COVID, because as excited as we all are about the vaccine being rolled out, the reality is we might be dealing with COVID for a long time. And so Don and Ray Flores of Barrio Charo actually spoke about that. Don, do you want to expand on this?
Sure. So I have a new partnership for a restaurant. It's called Barrio Charo, and this has also been a company that was developed during COVID. So we started planning for this this restaurant. It's a fast casual restaurant. We started planning in February of last year, and after 1 month of our meetings and getting excited about starting this company and planning for it, COVID. And so we're like, wow, what are we going to do? And our commitment to just keep going and to try to figure out how we can shape a business with these new constraints coming out of it. We were fortunate, I think, to have this this situation, because it really helped shape our idea of what our business would look when we came out of it, and we launched the business in, I think it was January 12th. So just almost a year of planning happened. But what we came away with in this session is a business that was exciting, fresh, and new, and also to share with other people that were just coming out of it too, either modifying their business or people that were interested in going into business. So this was a really great, powerful presentation of the people, because we just presented, you know, what we were doing, how we're going to do it, and then kind of the different things we had to think about to be able to open at this time. So even the packaging meeting, you know, sharing that with other attendees, and this one with planned during COVID, it became more of a community, you know, kind of supported sessions of not just what we're doing and how we're going to do it, but to support other people that were, you know, a little pretty intimidated by COVID and what the new restrictions were and how to navigate all those things. And my partner, Ray Flores, he's this really smart person and versed in all this health department regulations. And with COVID, he got very involved trying to figure out all the rules and regs, because he has many, you know, several restaurants with his family. So yeah, this was a really good meeting, a good chance to look at our own practices to see what we're doing and how we're going to organize.
All right, and then again, a big part of the planning grant was to just sit down and plan it, which can be a really hard thing for someone as busy as Don, which is why we were happy to help him at AA Tech. So we did a feasibility study, which analyzes a lot of different aspects of a business, you know, how the market of it, the you know, the technical feasibility, the economic feasibility, the financial feasibility, and it examines everything over the course of about 10 years. So we build a model and really just explore what the different options are and try to figure out, you know, hey, is this feasible? So we really wanted to think about expanding Barrio Grains, because at this time, Barrio Grains has been, you know, housed in the Barrio Bread Bakery, and it has had a pretty small space and kind of low tech, right, Don?
Yeah,
Lots of hand scooping into bags.
Yes.
So we want to, you know, we wanted to explore for Don how it would look to expand that, have dedicated floor space, have dedicated equipment to help with bagging, and then, you know, with the goal of expanding this market. We also wanted to examine the possibility of expanding even farther into a milling facility, because this is something that producers, you know, as we talk to them, identified as kind of a thing that's lacking, and that there's not really a place you can take your grain and have it milled and made into this product, you know, that has a higher value. And so we also explored that through the feasibility study, and just looked at, you know, sales projections, just kind of how different things would look. What we have found at this time is that the expansion of Barrio Grains, you know, into a larger facility with the dedicated equipment, it looks very promising, and we're really hoping that that can be a step that Barrio Grains can take. The milling facility, while exciting, is not, the market's not quite there yet. We're going to need a little bit more, you know, market capacity to be able to justify it, because you're going to have a lot more equipment, a lot more, you know, labor to, you know, be milling fresh flour, and it's just not quite there yet. But the wonderful thing about Barrio Grains is it's going to continue to grow, it's going to continue to develop this market, and we're hoping in time we can examine the milling facility and see, you know, when it can be a viable option.
Yeah, really for me, it's been a just very careful steps with my companies to move forward. And so there's different levels of opportunities, as Sophia said, but the next level is this kind of a safe level for me. I'm really careful, because once I take that step forward, I just want to have the best, you know, the best of the best presented to the community, because I just think my reputation is very important to the community, because that's really about the business and why people support it, because they believe in, they're supporting something that has meaning, that's just not making a product. So step-by-step process for me. And so the first step would to be expanding in a space that's next to the bakery, and there's a business that's about the same size. So there's an opportunity to go into there as like a first step before that milling facility, to kind of go with that and to, you know, 2.0 of what I'm doing now, from the hand scoop and fill the bags to equipment that'll help speed it up and make it more efficient, and then create jobs. Along the way, this whole thing has been creating jobs from the start of the bakery in my garage to what it is now, even with the restaurant. Has created a lot of jobs, and then starting with the farmers, more grow, and then also producers coming in, telling other producers about how they can make better products using local grains. So it's a step-by-step process, but for Barrio Grains, I want to be really careful, but also have an opportunity to keep pushing it forward with the feasibility and, eventually have something very solid in the community where that is the legacy, where people look back and say, yeah, this is still built to last after, many, many, many years, and maybe after I'm gone, but it's just something passion for me to make sure there's something there for my community. But so far it's been amazing that people are really excited about the flour, and the little bakery I have isn't just, the bread. It's a community center, and then people are thrilled to have the video courses to learn for themselves, but step by step for me. And then I believe that will create better sustainability, more sustainability, true sustainability overall.
Great. All right, so what's next for Barrio Grains? Like we were saying, the goal is to just keep growing the business, right, Don? Expanding the available grain. Here we have some pictures of some flour bags that Don's been developing to kind of amp up the product, because right now you're using paper bags with the Barrio Grains sticker on it, right?
Right. Yeah. Right now, I get bags from Uline. That's one of my sources for the bags, and then rubber stamping. Just old school kind of stamping, but really to make it attractive, new, and exciting, and to something that's going to compete on the local market, and hopefully someday on a national, regional market. Is I need the packaging. So this is really what I want to do. The next step right here, this closing out this month, these bags should be on the shelves very soon, and that'll be more opportunity to market them, because they'll be very professional, and using going back to the U of A, how they help design and tell us what we needed on the bag. So on the back of these bags are QR codes, so I can have people interact with the product on the market shelf, scan them, and find traceability, and also links to my website, Barrio Bread, and then breadlessons.com. So that's like the value added of this new packaging, and Barrio Grains is, for decades, nothing has really changed in flour. If you go to the supermarket, you see Bob's Red Mill, you see King Arthur's, on a bigger scale, just Pillsbury or General Mills stuff. So nothing's really changed. And I believe it's time for this really just big boost to show there's more to the flour than just being a commodity, something that's on the shelves that packaging hasn't changed in years. It's not exciting. So this will have an interactive QR code with those items, nutritional profile on it, and then sort of a quick bio of my companies and myself, of what I've done and why you should buy it. But it's part of my commitment to education and local food promotion and local grain economy promotion.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but in terms of retail sales, it's mostly just through the bakery, right? So this expands your options to maybe have it at the co-op or some other local grocery stores.
Right, and I'm already getting a lot of interest from the co-op, so hopefully letters of intent from other retailers. And the restaurant now, my new restaurant, Barrio Charo, they are buying the flours for me, and we sell it retail, and I use it for all the baking, in-house baking. I have a little bakery set up at the new restaurant. So Barrio Grains has already found a wholesale outlet, and so there's more interest coming, and I'm getting calls all the time. But at this point, we're just trying to finish the packaging and gather these letters of interest, and then be able to step forward. Like I said, I really like to just make all the right steps and not make a commitment to anyone and under deliver. I'd rather over promise or over deliver under that. So it's coming soon. Mm-hmm.
And then maybe in X amount of years, you'll open up a milling facility and have even fresher flour available for market.
Exactly. Yeah. And just being really transparent with everyone in the grain chain about what I'm doing. So on just good terms with the millers and the growers, the community. And so I just want it to continue to be that way. So everyone is in the know and, you know, we can all benefit together.
Right, that's great. Okay, so that kind of wraps up our presentation. So does anyone have any questions for Dawn or myself? Mostly Dawn though.
The question from about the current growers, or you know how many of those would be like tribal?
Well, working with the Sun Bear Co-op Farm, I'm doing some work with them. They do have a lot of seed and storage right now. So I've been working with them to try to get some of the hard red into my bakery, but I use some of their white Sonoran wheat, and also I love their mesquite flour. So working with Tohono O'odham, and I've worked in the past with the Pasquayaki tribe, you know, with their grow. And so that was really fun, you know, before they came in the bakery just as consumers, and we just had a quick chat. They looked at it and were like, wow, white Sonoran wheat, we want to grow that, you know. And so they had a grow, a harvest, and I told them when they're about ready to harvest, I said, you know, I would love to get some of the flour. And sure enough, they showed up with bags of flour, you know, like 60 pounds of flour. And I said, you know, I'd take more. And then a lot of what I do is love to promote it. So using social media, you know, social media has been a big success to me. And so, you know, having them in the bakery, taking pictures and putting a light on the tribes, you know, because I believe that's so important. And it's like this, for some reason, just under recognized. So why not? Like, this is my commitment of being a person, a minority myself. And that's really my commitment to making sure that everyone has that opportunity. BKW Farms, they're fourth generation Chinese farmers. So I loved working with diverse population. And so, yeah, it's been a lot of fun to make sure everyone's represented and everyone has a chance to get in and benefit. And, you know, for me, creating these jobs has been really fun too, from the farming to the packaging of the flour to delivering the product. So job creation has been
I'm
awesome.
just curious because the worst with the Pasquayaki on there in their Durham there, they got in a little bit of a bind this last time during COVID because the elders couldn't come across. And so that we were trying to figure out a way to get that wheat harvest that they had out there. It was a little difficult.
Yeah, well, I'd like to explore that. And, you know, as I move forward with Barrio Grains, there's definitely a need to gain more security, grain security. So I'll be reaching out to more farmers. Right now, I kind of have a commitment to my group to make sure that I'm using the grain at a pace that's sustainable for them, that encourages them to continue to grow. But if this takes hold, definitely, you know, the demand goes up from the consumers and we need to grow more. So that's also been you know, as everyone knows, you have to think about that. Sometimes consumers think, oh, you just call a warehouse, you get the flour. But, you know, I'm 2 years out with talking about the grains, you know, planting it, and then get the harvest and then storing it. I want to make sure that's in place because my bakery, I've marketed my bakery as, you know, local grain bakery. So I need to make sure that's in place. And also with the Barrio Grains, there's enough to sell outside of making the bread. So I'll be engaging more farmers for sure. And hopefully those farmers, tribal farmers.
Yeah, great.
Great. Anyone else have any other questions? Awesome. We perfectly hit the 30-minute mark, Dawn, so.
Okay. Nice.
Got it.
Cool.
All right, so thank you again.
Everybody.
Yeah. And now our next speaker is Ms. Joyce of the Tohono O'odham Agricultural Extension, and I'll let you introduce yourself. And if you would like to share your screen, you're welcome to as well.
Ms. Joyce, I think you are muted.
Now, can you hear me? Yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Joyce Miguel. I am the Assistant Farm Manager here at Tohono O'odham Community College. We're with the Agriculture Extension Program. I work alongside with Clifford Pablo, who has been the farm manager here at the Agriculture Extension Program since 2008. And he's out in the classroom. We actually have a class today, the agroecology class. So I'll be doing this presentation. It's sowing seeds for the future. And here at the Agriculture Extension Program, we not only sow seeds for crops, but we sow seeds in community members, teaching them about gardening, farming, and just to kind of reintroduce them to the traditional crops. We're located in South Arizona, and we have 3 campuses. The Shtuktuak Mashtumakut, which is formerly known as the main campus, and that campus is located on Highway 86, milepost 125.5. And then we have another campus, which is Komchkut Iwawasit Mashtumakut, which is our central campus, and that is located in Cells, which was originally the college campus before they built the new main campus. And then we're located at the Wishak Gosh Mashtumakut, which is the West Campus. And this is where our agriculture extension program is. The extension program provides enrolled students an opportunity to learn how to garden and operate on a farm. The learning fields are located on the West Campus, which are the student learning farm and the extension. And the mission of the agriculture extension program follows along the farm and food working group mission, is to spread knowledge, inspire and encourage interest in agriculture and natural resources, demonstrate the personal and professional potential in this field of study, raise awareness of the connections between ourselves and the environment, realize how our agricultural heritage informs our health and values. Let the knowledge of the past bring wisdom to our choices for the present and the future. The interns, they learn about traditional and modern methods of gardening. And in these pictures, we have a couple, we have an intern, and the other individual is a volunteer, and they're planting in the student learning farm, which is a smaller garden. And then we have on the right is a picture of the greenhouse, which we start out our seedlings. There are numerous skills to learn through this program, such as maintaining and operating equipment, how to lay out, take elevation shots, and level a field. The interns also learn welding and plumbing, and there's many other skills that they can learn during this program, and which in hopes that, you know, if they don't know what they want to do in their, you know, future, that these workforces of each may interest them to go into that field. We recently started, well, it's been about almost 2 years in the works of expanding our field. And the intention of this is our extension field, which is about 1 acre. And what we did with this field is Clifford designed it as to using the surface runoff as they originally, the traditional way of planting is using the runoff and watering the fields. And we do have a water system, which, well, the water line that the students actually helped install, where they got the plumbing skills to be able to do a hands-on training with that. And this is our backup watering system. And then what we have in here is we had growing the zucchinis and some yellow squash and some patty pans. The interns also learn how to do the traditional ways of making gayasa, which is roasted corn. And here we have Clifford showing them how to roast them. And then we learn how to grind them afterwards, you know, the whole process through making gayasa. And that's one of the popular foods that community members always ask for and they want. And so we want to increase the product and at least, you know, share with community members that they're able to do this for themselves. And so the interns here were roasting corn. Then part of the agriculture extension program, we co-teach an agroecology class. And this is where students learn the basics of the ecology of agriculture. The class is sectioned into various lab sessions that include seedlings, transplanting, irrigation, compost, pest management, and garden planning. And this year, or actually last spring, we actually had community members register for the class, and we hope that, you know, they'll go out into their communities and help their fellow community members with the skills that they learned through this class. And here are some of the students learning how to install a drip system. And in the middle picture, Clifford is showing a student when they're doing the transplanting. And what we tell the students is that, you know, look at the roots and to make sure that the seedling is not, the roots are not root bound, or, you know, and to kind of loosen the roots. And here are some more of the pictures for the agroecology class. We're teaching them with how to start seedlings, how to make their own seedling mix instead of going to the store and buying it. And just another picture with the student learning to install irrigation. The program does outreach. And what we do, we have a WIHA project, which is a mesquite harvesting mesquite pots. And we go out to communities when requested and teach them the safety practices that need to happen when harvesting mesquite pots. And on the right, we have a picture which is called chippanakut and a chippa, which is a traditional way with how they ground up the mesquite pots. And we like to share this with the community members just to show that, you know, how much work went into making mesquite flour. And we also informed the community members that we have a mobile hammer mill. So if they would like to mill their mesquite pots, then they can put in a request, and we would go out and grind their mesquite pots. And one year it was pretty cool to see that a school in San Simon Middle School, or the grade school, they had a summer program and they had the students go out and harvest, and they had a bunch of mesquite pots. And it took us probably like half a day just to grind their mesquite pots. And what was nice about it was that they invited the parents to come in and work along with their children and make different like cookies or pancakes out of that mesquite pot. And this is what we want, is for more people to go out and harvest. So this is one of the things that we try to do during a training when requested. We go out and do community gardens. We help them till their ground, or if they need seeds, or help with fencing, or just questions, we can help the community members. And this provides a hands-on training too as well for interns. And this picture is from the Healthy Autumn Promotion Program. In 2012, they did a garden, and currently we are working with HOP again. That's the acronym HOP, HOPP, for their program. And we went to their garden on Wednesday and helped them plant. So they're excited to get their garden started. This picture was back in 2012. So their garden lay without gardening for many years. And what they want to do is start up gardens at all the hops centers on the reservation. And here's just another picture, their corn that they were growing, and they were very successful. And what they did is just use their crops to do food demonstrations. The interns go out when requested and do a presentation on the agriculture extension program. And here are two of our previous interns. They went out and did a presentation on the agriculture program at the Tohono O'odham Nation range day. And they share it with the students there, what they do and what they're learning as being an intern, and in hopes that these students would like to come to the college. It kind of promotes the college and the program. And here is another presentation that we do on our traditional crops that we have. Here we had the intern. She went out along with another one to Akjin community in Maricopa, and we did a presentation out there on the agriculture extension program as well as and the seeds. And it was very interesting to because it's known as a sister tribe to Tohono O'odham Nation, and just the different names that they have with the crops, but it's the same thing. And that was one of the interesting things that the intern had shared with us. And here are just some of our seeds that we have, and this is the summer traditional crops, and these are the ones that we grow here, and we are able to share with community members if we have enough inventory for it. And so we have some of our corn and several different kinds of beans and squash and melons and sugarcane, and which we will be we're start planting, which soon, because our monsoon season will be starting. Here are our seeds for the winter, which is the wheat, and we have garbanzos, and we have autumn peas. Here we have, these are in the cooler climate with the spring, and there's 3 kinds of beans. That is the lima beans, and then we have what Clifford shared with me with this SWIAA moon is the autumn peaks. This was the tepary beans for the autumn people before the pinto beans actually came. And so, and then we have sunflower, and then we have our autumn gourds. We also do wild harvesting, and we have the children, which is the cholla pods, which the season just ended. And then we have the weehawk mesquite pots, and there's the picture with the weehawk joy, which is the flower. And then also the interns, learn to go out and harvest the Dutch, which is a cactus fruit. And then this is just our, our picture of our seeds that we have. And that's all I have. And then this is our contact information. If any community members, we share that if they need assistance or that they could contact Clifford Pablo. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
I have just a question, I guess, request. Are we going to disseminate the presentation slides?
We can. Ms. Joyce, would you be okay with that? And Dawn as well?
Yeah, sure.
Great. I have a question for Ms. Joyce. How long is the internship program?
As long as they're a student and until they finish their program, then they're allowed to work.
Does the college offer agriculture degrees, or is this generally more extracurricular?
There's actual agriculture degrees in life science. Mm-hmm. And then there's degrees with natural resources. And the thing with the when we started our expansion of fields, they had created a culinary program, and which was the restaurant that was known as Desert Rains, and it's in partner with the high school, and the produce that we produce, were gonna produce was gonna go to what is it called? I forget the name what the restaurant's gonna be, that it's called, and we were gonna provide them with what we grow. But since the pandemic happened, that's kind of on hold. They haven't we don't know where it's at right now. But the one the college has a vendor that cooks lunch, and we provided like zucchinis, yellow squash, and patty pans, and some vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower to the vendor, and they cooked the products that we gave them, and they served it as a lunch, which was the cool thing about it. And as well as they asked for beans, and so they used what we were growing with the vendors there.
That's great. Another question.
Do you, Joyce, how much of the nation do you cover? Do you have to go to all ends of it and go out to some of the other more rural communities, say on the west end more, or up near Aho or anywhere?
Yeah, we've got requests from Manager's Dam at one point. There was request from the Pisnomo'o, the elderly center. We went out there, and we've gone to San Miguel, helped out there, and yeah, we pretty much, community members get, I guess, interested in the gardening, or they need help, then they contact us, and then we'll go out and everywhere and stuff and everything. And we've done workshops requested from the Santa Vera Co-op for the mesquite harvesting. So yeah,
So do your interns get most of their hands-on experience there at the college, or do you kind of go out to different farms and have them help in other places?
No, they get the hands-on experience here. They start out slowly working in the garden, and then as they progress, then they'll start getting training on the tractor and attaching the implements and stuff and everything. So, and then also we do have a small garden at Maine, but we haven't been out there because we've kind of been short-handed. But I should have mentioned this in the beginning. We do have 2 interns, Gabriel Mendoza Sr., and he's actually working on his GED. And then we have another intern, Marcus Antonio, which he's gonna be starting the college courses. This will be his first semester in fall.
Good.
Great. Well, it sounds like a really great program. Those interns are lucky to get that chance.
Yeah.
I
should have mentioned too that, I started out as an intern, and I was an intern for about a couple years, I think. And then they applied for a grant, and that's where I'm under, where they created this position as an assistant to the farm manager for the agriculture extension program. So yeah, it was a lot of experience. I mean, a lot of information and learning different things. And that's what I like to share with the interns, is that what you learn here is something that could be usable when you go home, and it gets you thinking, and you're able to pass on those skills and helping other community members in your community. So
Definitely. I got my agriculture degree from the U of A, and I didn't get any hands-on experience for my whole degree. I saw my first field when I was a junior. You know, it was so abstract, and I was gardening at the time, so I knew, like, I got that hands-on experience, but it was not through the program. So I just love that something like this exists, because I don't understand how you can learn about farming without getting your hands dirty.
yeah.
Well, you should have took some courses from Ursula.
I should have. I didn't really know that they were, you know, your advisor tells you to take certain classes and that's what you take, and then you go out and party. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Joyce, for you know, taking the time to present with us. We had one more speaker scheduled. Her name is Cheyenne Carlisle. She unfortunately forgot about the time difference, and actually has her, what is it, her thesis defense? Is that what it is, Trent?
Yeah, she has her oral, she's doing her oral defense right at the same time. So that kind of trumps, and we'll catch up with her next round.
Yeah, we'll hopefully have her for the next webinar. And I do want to remind people that, you know, this webinar was made possible through a rural business development grant that we got for the Southwest Indian Organization got. And so there is still some technical assistance available. So if you know of any farmers or small businesses that need support with feasibility studies, with business plans, anything like that, that's something that we can offer for free through this program. So you're welcome to just, you know, contact me, contact Trent, and we'll be happy to help have that happen. So yeah, does anyone have any, you know, closing things they want to say before we wrap up this webinar?
Hope it rains soon.
Hope
Yeah.
it rains soon.
Look at that.
Yeah. Well, thank you all again so much for taking the time to do this with us. We really appreciate it. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Bye.